Perfect. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our session this morning. If you haven't seen my face before, my name's Eve. I'm the Member Services Manager here at Wall. I'd also like to welcome Vanessa, who's joining us from the Wall team today. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that I live and work on beautiful Whadjuk Noongar Budja, and I consider myself very fortunate to help restore this beautiful country. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present, and I extend a deep respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders on the call today. I acknowledge their ongoing connection to land, sea, and sky as the world's oldest continuous living culture. So please feel free to acknowledge what country you're on in the chat function. I would love to see whereabouts we're all calling in from this morning. So today's session will cover the basics of PSHB, where it came from, why it's a threat for our urban and peri-urban canopy, which tree species are affected, and how to identify PSHB in host trees. We will then go on to discuss treatment and also to discuss the transition to the management response. So thank you all for joining us online this morning. I'd like to welcome our speakers for today, Emad Alshwany and Chau from DPIRD.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
To do a quick introduction, Emad has held multiple positions in the PSHB response team since May 2022, including lab officer, planning officer, senior planning officer, and currently capacity building and training. Emad obtained his master's degree in 2010 and his PhD in 2020 in veterinary epidemiology from Murdoch University. Eden has a background in zoology and several years of experience working in the PSHB response team. She's held multiple positions, starting as a field surveillance officer in July 2022 and progressed through multiple roles in the years of serving, and is currently working as a capacity building and training officer. I'd love to hand over to Emad. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us today.
Yes. My pleasure.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emad, and this is Eden, as Eden already introduced us. We both from Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development, Capacity Building and Training Community Team. We are more than happy to be here today, and thank you so much for joining us. So, acknowledge of the country, as we would like to do the same. We would like to acknowledge that the Whadjuk people are the traditional owner of this land, and we extend our respect to older past and present and emerging. Always was and always will be Aboriginal land. So let's start. Polyphagous short-haired borer, PSHB. PSHB is one of the approx beetle and lives a symbiotic relationship with the fungus called Fusarium. The biggest problem I would say with this beetle is the adult female is able to carry out the spores of this fungus in her head capsule. So we'll take it with her wherever she's going. So for example, if she's decided to establish a new colony or population in new tree, she will carry this spores with her. And once she started boring and tunneling in the new trees, she will plant that spores on the gallery's walls, and later this spores will grow up as a fusarium, will be food source for the entire population in the new tree or new colonies. And then diebags, how diebags is happening. Xylem work as a primary vascular tissue and transporting waters and nutrition during up and down to the trees. How this diebags is happening? So there is two. This is results of two processes. First, when the beetle tunneling in the tree, of course, most likely will cut these vascular systems. Plus, the fusarium will grow up and will block this system. Therefore, that part of the tree not receiving enough or totally water and nutrition. And of course, as a result, we will see dieback or whole tree will die, depending on the location of infestations. Identifying PSHB, as we can see from the picture, female is a little bit bigger than the male, 2.6 to 2.7 millimeter in length. The color is dark brown to black. And then we have, of course, the females has wing and can fly. The male is smaller, as we can see, brown in color. It's just 1.6 millimeter in length and doesn't have wing, so it's not able to fly. Therefore, he will spend the entire life inside the same tree where he hatched and growing up in it. This is a little video showing PSHB in life, how they are working, and it's because they are spending most of their life inside the tree, so unlikely to see them always like that. And we was lucky enough to capture this moment, so we would like to show everyone how they look like in real life. So unfortunately, this is just a female. We wasn't able to find a male because of the population is heavily female based. And therefore, so we just was able to find the female, not a male altogether. And this is the tunnel. It's quite close. You can see how circular it is, and we will come to this in details later. So we just want to show how this the tunnels from outside look like.
I was trying to go inside.
Yep. Life cycles. PSHB considered haplo-diploid mating system, and this is mean one single female can establish a new colony, new population alone. And as mentioned earlier, it's a heavily female-based population. We most likely see up to 16 females, and we may see only one male. Also, they have very short development time, 30 to 40 days, depend on the temperature, depend on the weather overall. And in Western Australia, especially in South West WA, is the most suitable place for them. They can grow up nearly whole year around. And then every generations, we expect what from our data, from our researchers from other countries, 20 to up to 50 eggs. So every generation we may, from one female starting within 5 to 6 weeks, they may become 20 to 50 new beetles. Where they came from? Southeast Asia countries, PSHB considered native. Based on the environment there, it's quite humid, and the temperature is not too high, not too low, so it's this perfect condition for them. And then from there, they distributed around the world. This is some countries where officially recorded they have PSHB. Most likely there's many more countries, but it's not recorded. Or they don't have enough evidence, or for any reason they didn't announce it. So far, the first country was recorded was Israel, 2009. Sorry, it was California, 2003. And then California is a little bit special. We will come into more details later. And then Israel was 2009, 2017 South Africa. Then in Europe, Spain, we have 2022. Then in the last couple of years, 2 to 3 years, in most of the South American countries. In Australia, we officially had it in 2021. Again, we will come in more details about Australia specifically. Detection here in Australia. Of course, so far it's only Western Australia. When I say Australia, I mean so far only Western Australia, and thankfully hopefully never be in other states too. In August, 6th of August 2021, one of the residents in East Fremantle, they noticed their box elder in their garden. It's declining quickly. So they reported through my pest guide, which is really good app. We recommend it to everyone use it. If you see there is something abnormal on your backyard, front yard, or pest, pathogen, or anything you think it's not normal, please use this app, and someone from DPIRD will see it. And early detection is the best to stop or eradicate the infestation. Potential impact of PSHB. There's multiple things it could be impacted. First is losing of canopy cover, and as most of us may know, Western Australia has the lowest percentage of the canopy comparing with other cities in Australia. And with PSHB, we lose more trees, and the situation will be even more. And also, the other impact is fruit trees. We've seen avocado and mango is one of the species has been infested here in Western Australia, and Western Australia is considered as the major export of the avocado, and we imagine how impact will be on these farms. The full impact, it's really hard to know, and we don't have exact numbers what's the full impact, but yeah, we will know it at some point. This some real examples. This is one of the streets in northern suburb. As we can see, there is a lot of box elder trees on both sides of the tree, and unfortunately has been attacked by PSHB. And this as multiple trees, and we needed to act quickly, because box elder considered as amplifier's host and can extremely susceptible to it. The beetle, like box elder and other tools, we will come in details later. It can increase the population of the beetle is quite rapidly, affecting the surrounded different tree species, maybe not as preferred as box elder. So we needed to remove them and see this is how it looked like after that. This is one of the examples how impacting the canopy if we didn't control it or didn't took it seriously. The other example is in California. As we can see, in California, the biggest problem they had, they recorded into 3, but they misdiagnosed it. So from the beginning, they saw it and they thought this is different one, and they didn't did anything about it because they thought this is not bad as they were thinking at that point. Until 2012, 9 years later, they identified it correctly, but it was already too late. And from this park, we can see in 2016 how many trees here, too many trees here, and then once they realized they attacked the whole park. In 1 year later, the only option they had to remove over 500 heavily invested trees. And as we can see, we compare between both pictures. The first one is quite green and a lot of trees around. And the second one is we are losing all this green environment. They lost habitat loss for native fauna, and also the heat, also the strong wind in the area. As a result, because just when they discovered it correctly, it was already too late for them. Host. What's the host? The host is any plant species can susceptible to be attacked by PSHB. There is two lists, the host list. There is one global host list, and we created our own host list in Western Australia. So the global host list, there is over 500 species has been recorded and considered as a host. In Western Australia, we had 239 species has been recorded officially attacked by PSHB. Based on our data in last 4 years, we tried to build our categorize, let's say, or classified how to classify all these hosts, because as you can see, nearly 500 hosts. So based on the number of the attacked, based on the other data, we classified them in two parts, reproductive and non-reproductive. Reproductive mean the beetle can attack the tree and grow the fungus and complete the life cycle and produce new generation. Non-reproductive is the beetle still can attack the tree, but for any reasons not able to grow up the fungus. Therefore, she is not able to finish the life cycle and produce new generations. And based on that, the reproductive is we have many trees considered reproductive, but based on the how many times been attacked, we subclassified to extreme susceptible. This one we have top, we call it top 3 hosts, box elder, robinia, and coral trees. They are the top 3. And then we have still highly susceptible, but less than that 3. We call it high, very high. And moderate is still we have some infestation in some trees. And then we have the low and very low, considered non-reproductive. Some examples for top host, top host or extreme susceptible. We have box elder and robinia plus coral trees. This top 3. What we saw here in Western Australia and in other places in global, this is top favorite hosts for the beetle. And this tree is considered extreme and can amplify increase the numbers of the beetles quite rapidly. It's very important to know about this top 3. It will be very helpful later planning any surveillance or for future plan to control or manage or whatever the decision is. The second group is very high susceptible hosts. Here we have ficus, multiple type of ficus, Martin Bay ficus and Port Jackson, common figs. Then the other one is London plane tree, Poniciana mulberry, both white and black, but mainly it's white mulberry, castor oil, and Chinese hibiscus. These, and there are some others as well, but this is considered a very high susceptible host to it. And the second one, surveillance and symptoms. Pass it to Eden, talking about that one.
So in this session, I'm going to walk you through with this how we do surveillance and how to identify symptoms on the trees. So I'm going to refer back to the previous slides, because most of the time we will use the top 3 hosts, box elder, robinia, coral, as an indicator of how susceptible the area is, because those trees are very attractive to the beetle. So we can use them as indicators on where to start the surveillance first. Okay, let me move to here.
Oh, sorry.
Next. Yep, there we go. So what is surveillance? Surveillance allows early detections and can help guiding decisions on ongoing management. Just like I said, you can use these trees as an indicator to where to start the area, because most likely you will find infestation in those trees. We're going to cover surveillance method, how to identify the symptoms on trees, and some considerations during surveillance. Right, step 1 in surveillance. We'll scan the whole tree from a distance. We are going to examine a tree from a distance from top to down to check if there's any canopy thinning or leaf discoloration. We also look for signs of dieback that causes declining or fallen branches. It is as well worth to check if any wounds exist on the tree already, because those are the vulnerable areas that the beetle would go into. Yeah. Right, here's some examples that we're going to look into. Some common symptoms we may notice when initiating an inspection from a distance, including dieback. Let me show you, like dieback in branches or any leaf discoloration in the canopy. It can be a sign of that branch is not doing well because of the nutrients or water is not going into those areas. Okay, let's do some imagination in your brain. Step-by-step surveillance when in a distance would be, we see this tree with thinning limbs on the canopy and some discoloration in leaves on those limbs. We then trace back the limb down to look for suspicious symptoms, maybe the vulnerable area that I just talked about, and likely some staining and gumming that we showed in the picture, as those may be indicating there are damages and causing the defensive mechanism of the tree, that they are trying to exude sap to flush out foreign object or heal the wound. Cool. Next, we'll be focusing on any vulnerable areas that you identify in step 1. Vulnerable area or weak areas can be inherent. This includes branch, collar, or natural splits along the bark. These are commonly attacked due to the complex tissue structures, ferret moisture retention, and slow defense responses. No, hang on.
Sorry.
Acute and human damages. This includes freshly pruned wounds, snapped limbs due to weather, or any kind of bark damages. Freshly exposed wound in live wood has limited defense responses and commonly release chemical cues, which make them highly attractive to the beetle. Usually, we will look at these weak areas when conducting a thorough inspection. Next one. Right, some symptoms we may notice when we are walking close to the tree. Staining and lesions, they're quite distinguishable because they're like darkened in color. And it is caused by a mixture of fusarium fungus being spread in the sap response of the tree. Some tree species may display sugar volcanoes as a sap response when under PSHB attacks. They're usually species with high sugar content, such as mangoes and avocados. So in some inspections I've done, this is my experience. So I've seen these sugar volcanoes on avocados and mangoes. They look like powdered sugar. So out of curiosity, I scrape them and put them in my palm, and I can tell you they are not sweet, and please don't try it, okay? It just I'm being curious, but don't try it. I don't know whether they're toxic or not, so yeah, don't do it. If you find anything, just report it or just record it and let us know if you've found something in your area, okay? And lastly, close-up symptoms. Then we're going to take a really close look on those barks and branches that you suspect, oh, there are symptoms on them. So seeing short holes around 1 millimeter would be a great indicator of PSHB. Like I said, like prune wounds, this is a prune wound. You can see the short holes in there, how tiny they are. And however, it is always advised to view symptoms collectively to help further distinguish between PSHB and other pests or diseases, because some other insects and ants or native borers can also do damages that's similar to PSHB. The symptoms including gumming, staining, frass. So we would use chisel or any small blades to scrape away the outer bark to check if the short holes continue further. If so, you may see galleries, and that will be a great sign of PSHB exist. How to identify short holes? So, short holes created by the beetle are uniform and perfectly circular. So they're like perfect tiny holes. Like they're not elongated, they're not oval shape, they're very consistent in the size. Right? They're 1 millimeter in diameter, size of a ballpoint, like the tip of the ballpoint pen. So this is how big they are, if you can see in the camera, sorry. Yep, it's useful to have a pen or ruler to measure the holes that you observe on the tree. Anything, just like I said, anything slightly bigger, smaller, or oval may not be PSHB, but I encourage you to further investigate if the shot holes continues deep into the wood. Cool. I've mentioned frost, as PSHB do not feed on wood. It is actually pushing out the wood while they are digging the tunnels deep into the tree. So they're not eating the wood, they're just pushing it out. So this frost is essential debris from the boring process. Frost is more commonly observed in trees with a lower sap response. So however, these stress responses vary, and sometimes you can find both shot holes and frost at the same time, or at times only shot holes present. And I'm going to show you a short clip of a female beetle boring into live wood. It is under microscope, and I recognize this may be a coral tree sample that the beetle is trying to bore into. And down here is the shot hole it created down here. Look at how hardworking she is. Yeah. Okay. Next slide. All right. Galleries is one of the most telling signs of PSHB. Most native borers will feed on dead, dying, or stressed wood and target the sugary layer under the bark. But PSHB bores into live wood, creating tunnels and to cultivate the fusarium fungus. The fusarium fungus is what causes these black stain galleries, as you can see in the photo. All of them are PSHB confirmed positive samples. Yeah, these are all real life samples that we collected in the field. Yeah. And nope, not yet. Sorry, they are very specific to PSHB. So as the fungus spreading and causing wood tissue to die, these galleries also impact the structural integrity of the branch and tree. So I've seen samples in Lake Claremont. So one time I was doing a trap inspection with my colleague. It was after a heavy storm during winter, and that big Moreton Bay fig has a huge limb just dropped because of the strong wind. And that's how we found that the beetle exists in Lake Claremont, because we see tons of galleries and shot holes on those limbs. So that's how we got the theory. Yep. Here are some examples of inconsistent shot holes which are most likely caused by native borers, but not PSHB. So you can see, you may see some small shot holes, but irregular or inconsistent shaped. I've mentioned PSHB create very perfect circles, and they are very uniform in sizes. But if you see shot holes or any holes like oval shaped or elongated, they might not be PSHB. And some you can see they're as big as a fingertip. So it will be handy to have a pen or ruler in hand to measure the size of the holes when conducting tree surveillance. If you do find shot holes within PSHB sign, please still check further, because pests can coexist or the tree is under secondary attack. Yep. I've mentioned a lot about different tools and equipment that PSHB response utilized, and be very useful for inspection under different environmental conditions. We have got more on the list, such as binoculars. It enables us for more detailed ground inspection. We specifically use an 8x42 magnification with a focal distance of 2.4 to 4 meters. Step ladders to allow safe access to lower trunk or branches. Small blades or chisel allow us to further inspect, like scraping out the bark or the gumming that are covering the shot holes on top. Ruler and pens I always mention for measuring size of the holes that you see. LED torches, great for under canopy inspection or where it's darker or during cloudy day. It is also very handy when we shine the torch into the shot holes because the exoskeleton of the beetle will reflect the light. So we always refer it as the shiny butts. And also postal. It is good for retrieving out of reach branches, but only do this to small branches that with symptoms that are relevant to PSHB. It is extremely handy for me because I'm a very tiny person that usually I can't reach any branches that is above my height. Okay, let's do some consideration when planning to conduct inspection. Then we need to think about it carefully. As I mentioned before, symptoms can be varied in host. Even the same species can have different responses to PSHB attacks. For example, locations of infestations. Are they in the trunks, in the branches, or even in roots? So all these parts on the tree can respond differently. Any physiological variations, including how is the tree already doing? Is it sick? What kind of area does the tree is growing into? This can cause different variations in symptoms that you may observe. Environmental factors such as seasons, weather, terrain can hugely affect surveillance activities. When it's cold, rainy, the frost pushing out by the beetle can be washed away or blown away by wind because they are very fine sawdust. Dampened bark could affect visibility of staining, and staining can be washed away too. Warm or cold season affect overall activeness of the beetle. If it's warmer, the beetle seems to be more active. If it's cold, they will most likely stay within the tree instead of crawling out. Terrains such as riparian or peri-urban are more favorable to the beetles. The beetle can be more active near freshwater or humid area. Accessibility to the area is the biggest concern when conducting surveillance. Due to safety, we should always ask us a question like, what kind of PPE do we have? What should we wear for an inspection, for example? Next week, the field trip, I would recommend everyone to wear long pants, even it's a well-maintained park, but so grass or any allergies that you may have. And also please wear closed shoes, yes. Yeah, or safety boots if you have those. And sometimes we conduct inspection in bushlands. So we also have gaiters, or if we have to access into water or creeks, we also have waders for those. Yes. Next one. I'm going to talk about 3 AA native hosts that we often find infestation when they are near water sources. First one is Melaleucas species. It's the, what is Melaleuca raffaifora? The common name for it. Swamp paperbark. Swamp paperbark is the most common species that we find infested when they are near river, creeks, dams, or streams. And they are particularly tricky to inspect due to the natural late barking. They usually have all kinds of holes on them as well. It's either natural or attacked by other insects, ants, or native borers. But we'll take a deep dive next week during the field trip at South Perth for sure. But so let me show you the areas that we are looking into this picture here on the right. Wait, where's that? Okay, in area A, PSHB shot holes obscured by late bark of the host tree. Like you can see holes here. And in area B, it is dead wood. It is active PSHB infestation. causing cell death, as demonstrated by the dark necrotic tissue. And also, you can see all these exposed galleries in it. In area C, further down here, the Fusarium fungal front moving down the trunk, and this is live wood. With the galleries of PSHB infestation visible, also galleries here. From B, the area is dying due to the infection, and the galleries are gradually moving downwards to live wood, which is in area C for more nutrients and water flow. Next one. Another native species that we're looking are the casuarina species, which are the she oaks. Once under PSHB attacks, they could display heavy sapping, as you can see in the picture here. All these are sapping and gumming, very dark, very distinctive. Shot holes. You can also see the shot holes on the bark, even like without peeling off the outer bark layer. And frost, this tiny, like this, yeah, this one here are the frost. But one thing to note here is that, and we are going to cover in the field trip next week, these native species are most likely to be attacked when near fresh water. In highly irrigated gardens, or even little pockets of freshwater resources like swampy areas or maybe flooded during winter. But if they are standing alone in drier place, even within the same park, in the same park, if they're standing alone, it is not near water, most likely there will be no infestation at all, which is very interesting. And I would like to have the answer of that. We are still researching into that area. Next one. The last native species that I'm going to talk about is the Banksia. They are very similar to she oaks and Melaleucas. They also have high infestation rate when they are in all these humid areas. However, they are difficult to inspect due to their thick bark and shot holes between the crevices. They're not as visible as the she oaks or heavy sapping. Right, any questions so far? No? 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 Okay, cool. All right. Let's move on to more considerations when doing inspections. Pre-existing conditions in trees may increase the chance of PSHB attacks. For example, tree already stressed with poor health, like nutrient disorder and drought, unfavorable climates or wounds. So we always advise people, please do not plant any exotic trees, especially those trees are coming from originally from a colder climate, like the Northern European trees. Box elders are European trees, such as that. Weakened or damaged trees release chemical cues. PSHB has the antenna to detect these cues when choosing a new host to infest, and the tree may draw the attention of the beetle. We have mentioned a lot about wetland favorability in any microclimates like little water pockets, creeks, streams, dense canopy, or bushland. Heavily irrigated gardens that retain moisture are also decided by the beetle. So we usually find heavy infestation along Swan River. Yep. I'm going to mention about a little bit of the enriched tree hypothesis. It is a study in Southern California by Boland and Woodward, where they found trees closer to sewage inputs had lower wood density, higher moisture content, higher beetle infestation rates, high beetle-induced mortality to trees. This study is particularly important to consider in our wetlands, as this may result in trees within these areas being more susceptible to PSHB attacks. Right, move on to treatment. If we have confirmed infestation on trees, unfortunately, The only current effective treatment for PSHB is pruning or removal of the infested tree to stop them from either further growing the population in the tree, or if it's unfortunately the beetle infests a box elder. As we mentioned, box elder is an amplifier host. Amplifier host means the beetle can grow the population rapidly, and they will disperse from the tree to surrounding trees. We also need to chip the infested materials to under 2.5 centimeters in diameter. These are studies suggesting the vibration throughout the chipping process kills 99.9% of the beetle. There are some considerations when treating trees as well. If ever doing any treatment for infested trees, we will recommend avoiding the period where the beetle seems to be the most active during the year to minimize the dispersal rate. This will be discussed in the later slides. Given you guys are from outside of the quarantine area in Bunbury, if you ever suspect any trees are infested, please report your findings to DPIRD and on the My Pest Guide app. I'll show you the app later and show you how to use it. And please do not move any materials like woody materials or plant materials. Use the interactive QA map on DPIRD web to check your location. Contact your local council to seek guidance. They may assist in that process. Like I mentioned before, chip the materials to under 2.5 centimeters as the vibration kills 99.9% of them. And also please cover the load and line the truck with tarp to stop them from escaping or to reduce unintentional spread of the beetle. If you have used double bag method to dispose infested materials, please handle it immediately and do not leave it overnight, as the beetle has the capability to chew through layers of plastics. I've seen it in my life. During inspections, I've taken like lots of samples. In the morning, we took a sample, and then after 6 hours, we noticed holes in the first layer of the plastic bag. We have the Ziploc bag, but we double back them and put them in a cooler. What's that called? That thing, yeah, esky, to keep them cool. And also, please wash down all machine and use 70% ethanol to sanitize your equipment or any tools when they have made contact with the materials, the infested materials. Yep. Right. Things to avoid to reduce beetle spread. Please do not burn any infested materials or transport any infested materials. It will lead to dispersal of beetles and cause additional infestation and further spread. Why we say don't burn the infested materials? Because the heat from outside, it will cause the beetle to escape. Like it's a slow process to heat up the wood. By the time the temperature reach to kill the beetle is already too late. The beetle may be escaped already. And also, please avoid solarization. It has been tested and requires variable numbers of days with ambient air temperatures above 35 degrees Celsius to reach a killing temperature of about 55 degrees Celsius inside the wood. Weather data for Perth shows that there's a small window in January to February where this method could be suitable, but to be effective needs a space that can use over months and close attention to detail in setting up to ensure no escape of beetle from the infested materials. This fact is based on Perth temperature data only and unlikely to be suitable in Bunbury because you have cooler climates down there. Fumigation has also been tested during using phosphine gas. It can be effective if contact is made with the beetles directly, but the galleries stop the molecules from traveling deep enough to kill all beetles and larvae. This method is also very hazardous, from setting up during fumigation and dismantling. So these three methods, try not to use them. All right, I'll pass it to Emad to talk about some prediction models.
So again, prediction. This graph has been generated by Curtin University recently, and they published recently. This is, as I said, just prediction based on the data available internationally and what we have it here. The lighter color is more suitable for PSHB, and as we can see here in Queensland, theoretically is more suitable than Western Australia, and thankfully so far there is no any record there. Can you see if you can see from that this is different cities and how we expect if they attacked it by PSHB, how the life of infestation and also the activities they do, how it look like. If you can see from the Cairn on the top on the Queensland, North Queensland, as the perfect possible location for PSHB to grow. And imagine if this infestation was found in Queensland, how the impact was heavily there. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to control it here, stop it not going to the other state, especially Queensland. This is based on our data from traps in last 4 years. Show the seasons, how the beetle active. Based on our data, the warmer days is more is better for them, and they are more active. Consider it January to April is the perfect time for PSHB to be active. But as we mentioned from earlier, in Western Australia, they can be active nearly whole times. In cold weathers, they are less active, especially during June, July, August, even close to December. They are less active, or maybe they just spending all their life just inside, not moving around a lot. So this will be very helpful for planning surveillance, especially in warmer days between January to April. So this will be giving good indication, especially for if we have a human resource or financial resource problem. We can focus our limited resource on these specific times. Quarantine area, the requirements. As you can see, this is the quarantine area in whole perimeter area. The thin red color is outside. This is the border of the quarantine. We have two different zones. We have management zones, the orange one here in the middle, and then we have containment zone in the outer light blue. Here is very good example. It's available on DPIRD's website. You can type in your address and see where you are, what's the requirement for you. For example, if you are in management, what you can do, what you cannot do. And if you are in containment zone, what's required from you to do. And if you are out of eradication zone, what you have to do. So this is very good resource to see where you are from this response. Tradition to management, and what's the transition from eradication to management means to you. As we mentioned from the earlier, this response started in August 2021 until June 2025, just until last year. International management groups based on the evidence they have, they decided eradication is not achievable anymore. And we moved from eradication, and at the moment we are in the phase of the transition to management. Started from August 2025 last year until December end of this year. First couple months we just was planning what to do, what's the best to do, and then at the moment we are in the T2M, what we call it. From 1st of January, early next year, will be management. We still don't know the details, as it's depend on the national group, what they are going to decide to do with. What's important for us now is we are in DPIRD. We established a new team. We call it capacity building and training team. Myself and Eden, we are part of that. Our focus on local governments, industries, and communities. We are trying to increase the awareness, do workshops, presentations, anything we can do to increase people's awareness. What's the best thing to do? How you can help us to control it, or at least slow down or stop the spread outside what we already have it now. Stop the spread. As from the map, in the management zone, our most activities are in the containment zone, which is in the light blue area. We still do targeted surveillance and remove trees wherever if we found, and on the same time, we're trying to reduce the PSHB risk and slow down the spread outside containment zone or outside the quarantine area. As I mentioned from earlier, we are trying to do workshops, seminars, increasing awareness for all the levels, governments, industries, and communities as much as possible. Capacity building and training. This is what we do. We targeting training and increasing knowledge, transferring our knowledge to whoever interested and whoever want to be part of this. Early detection, it's the best. It may reduce the cost. It may reduce losing less number of trees if there's an infestation, and its help management is much better. Our strategies is increasing the capacities and trying to prepare for management. Depend what's on what will be the decision, what we are going to do from 2027. Hopefully to be at least effective management as much as possible. Future proofing. Development of national research strategies and addressing knowledge gaps. We are focusing on research to find out how other countries dealing with, what can applicable here in Western Australia, what's not, based on because we have different factors. So it may something was very effective in other countries, but not here, and anything like that. Also review and relevant trade protocols, especially with places they have PSHB. We need to be more focusing on how to reduce it, or for related to other states, how to prevent not coming in. National assessment of host species, the risk to prioritize resource and planning surveillance. Here, some research, WA agriculture research collaborations. There's $2.17 million fund, funded 3 different universities in Western Australia. Curtin universities, they are supporting tools for managing PSHB and predicting models and risk mapping to help prioritizing surveillance to control effort. Western Australia, they are increasing tools to control PSHB, investigation in innovative chemical and biological possible strategies, better than just cutting trees, because at the moment there is no approved chemical treatment in Australia. There are some trials in Australia and outside Australia as well, but nothing officially considered as effective treatment so far. Morocco University, they are focusing on Fusarium, and they are examining host range of PSHB in WA and looking at any technique, any possible technique, such as remote sensing or driving risk, driving risk mapping, or any other stuff they may find. So these 3 universities, they are leading 3 different targets, and hopefully collecting all this information from these 3 parts and producing one more comprehensive strategy to manage PSHB, hopefully by early next year, hopefully.
Okay.
Yep.
It's my turn.
Yep.
Right. After we removed 5,000 trees within Perth metro area, the Department of Water and Environmental Regulation is also helping us to deliver some urban greening programs, which helps to restore urban canopy. Residents, businesses, and local governments who have lost their trees due to the beetle are being contacted by DWA, Department of Water and Environmental Regulations, to replace their trees. So at the bottom here, $6.9 million has been allocated to help all these affected stakeholders. This tree bait program offers up to $150 per tree and encouraging planting native trees on their properties. As I mentioned before, exotic trees are more attractive to the beetles. So we encourage, and exotic trees are not as well living in Australia hot climate. So we encourage people to plant native species. They're more resilient to the climate and more resilient to the beetle. There are more information about this program, so please feel free to visit the DWA website. And DPIRD is also having plans to support local governments that are within the management zone. So stay tuned for any updates on DPIRD website. At last, the final 3 slides. Thank you for having us. At last, but the most important is what you can do or what we can do as individuals. All of you have already taken the first step to join this presentation to know more about PSHB and have more awareness about this pest. The more the people know about PSHB, the better. Keep an eye on DPIRD's website, which is full of useful resources such as the most updated host list, QA, quarantine area restrictions, frequently asked questions, and all the other important documents are available for you to download and research. Or discuss with your family, your friends, your neighbors. It could be something as simple as, let's say, a friend mentioned they have a tree dying in their gardens and they would like to take those as firewood for a camping trip. We can tell them like, well, due to existence of PSHB, just not move the firewood around outside or either inside of quarantine area, or maybe just suggest them to use my pest guide to report what they see in their tree, why it's happening to their tree as well. Other teams within the response are doing their best to connect people around. You may see billboards, signs, posters in local areas such as on the roads, in the bus stop, or in your libraries. Your awareness and support means a lot to the environment. Hang on. Right. All right, I promised to show you how to use my Pest Guide app. So this is the app. This is the little symbol logo that you can see on App Store if you're using Apple, iPhone, or Google Play if you're using Android. So once you've downloaded it, okay, just simply click this plus symbol to create a new report. Take photos of the pest, plants, or symptoms you can find. You can upload up to 4 photos in one report. We recommend to take photos from different angles. One would be the entire plant, just like we do surveillance step 1 from a distance, take the photo of the full plant. Second, take the photos of the symptoms such as the shot holes, gallery, staining, or any other information, any other symptoms that we mentioned in the previous slides. Third, if you're lucky enough, you may see a beetle crawling on the bark. Please take a photo of it if it happens to you. Make sure you have different photos for the report to give us more information to identify the pest. Right, and then set your location so we know where the pest is coming from. And click More to get a detailed drop-down list. Select My Pest Guide and click OK. And in these 2 rectangular boxes, just let us know, just type in your location where you find it in your garden, on what tree, and what kind of symptoms you found. Just put a simple description on your observations. And then click Continue after you filled in all these lines and boxes. Fill in your contact details so people in the background can help, can get back to you once they have a conclusion. And then click Send. Here's how you report your observation on My Pest Guide app. Yep. So, thank you for having us today. I wish this session would be handed to you lovely humans who care about the nature and our precious future. For more details, you can scan this QR code to the website. It contains all essential information and details that may be in the interest of yours. And we'll be seeing you guys next week at the field trip in South Perth. Right, let me see what kind of question I have.
We've got a few. So firstly, thank you both so much. Yeah, the presentation that we had today also built a lot on the last one that we had. There was a lot more information about, I guess, like correct management tools, and also I think it was just a lot more in depth about how to actually just kind of like assess your canopy as you're walking around. Found that really informative. And also just hearing the updates about the funding for research across all those universities. That was really, really good to hear. I just want to jump straight into, we've got a few questions in the chat. Lacey asks, are there any proposed programs to assist orchardists, i.e. avocado and stone fruit industries, kind of outside of that immediate quarantine zone?
I'll have to ask our industrial team about this.
Yep.
Because I am in community, it is more. I can't.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Much better. Thank you. I have to ask the industrial team about this one, because they will have more information about how they can assist. But most likely at this stage, they are also doing capacity building and training on how they can, like the general information about PSHB, how to identify them, symptoms they're looking for. If unfortunately they found symptoms on their tree, what should they do? Because the beetle, they don't attack the fruit, they attack the tree itself. So export of the fruit is not a problem. The problem is how we should stop the infestation within the orchards, because eventually the beetle will kill the trees like 1 by 1, or maybe 1 to 10, like that. So I'll ask them about this one. If I ever get an answer for Lacey, would you pass that answer to Lacey?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you mind if I just give Lacey your email address and she can just forward her query to you directly? Yeah, just remove that.
Yes, please.
Awesome.
type in my email down here.
Perfect.
In the chat. Just hang on.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No worries.
That's a really good question from Vanessa. Asks, is there any training for the tree lopping industry to identify, report, and remove affected trees? That's a great question.
Is there any training for tree
Or has there
lopping?
been consultation with that industry as well? Yeah.
Yeah, there are. The industry team, they are developing a training platform called the training Progi Learning, that once they finalize all these activities and quizzes in the website, they will give people access how to train them to treat it. Previously in the eradication zone, we have our contracted arborist company to do all this treatment for infested trees. So they are very experienced in lopping all these infested trees. That can be a one way to ask them for help and train other arborists too. But it's just in the idea stage. There's still a lot to discuss because given maybe conflict of interest and we can't promote businesses, we're still in the stage of discussion on how we can train more people when they are lopping trees, if they see what they can do in that way.
Yep.
Make sense? Yeah.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. We've got a question from Rachel. How far can a female beetle travel to establish a new colony?
So we didn't cover this part. And yes, our data and international data saying the female can fly up to a couple 100 meters from the invested tree.
Per year?
No, just as a flight.
Okay.
However, the spread of the infestation normally 2 to 4 kilometers per year. So, for example, we have in location A box elders invested. Within 12 months, we expect normally, if everything environment or other factors was normal, we expect normally spread 2 to 4 kilometers. Any further than 4 kilometers, this is mean there is human movement being involved. Transporting materials, plant materials, or for any other reasons, maybe firewood or any other plant materials has been removed by human. So normally it's up to 4 kilometers per year. We are expecting be separated, and as a beetle can fly up to a couple 1 to 200 meters from where she is, from the infested trees, let's say.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so it's like because they're so tiny, they can't obviously move particularly far, but just enhanced by the human aided spread, I guess. I also found that your commentary on the fact that those species that are nearer to water bodies that are more susceptible to the borer are very interesting. And so I guess, could you, casually kind of imply that the hardwood species with that less moisture content in their wood and more dense structure would be less susceptible to borer infestations as well, potentially?
From what I observed, Robinia species, Robinia pseudoacacia, they are quite a hardwood species, but they are very preferred by the beetle as well. But I'm thinking, given they have high water content within the tree, so the beetle also prefers it because it helps the fungus to grow within the tree. Fungi need water to grow, right?
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Yeah, so it's still theory, but I hope there are more studies about it on how the favorability of the environment assists the beetle to grow and thrive.
We've got a few more questions from Ness as well. Will there be more funding for the universities beyond the initial funding given?
That I don't know.
At the moment, this is the only official thing we have, $2.17 million. Will be future fund, most likely, yes. Depend on local government, Western Australian government, or other state governments, or even federal government. Depend at which level they are hoping to be involved, to invest. So hopefully see more fund. But at the moment, this is what we have.
Yeah. And how many DPIRD staff are involved in the surveillance program, approximately?
Different level, we had different people. When we were on eradication phase, I don't have exact number, but I think we was around 200.
I know.
How much?
And I first started, it was around 60 to 70 people every day of field surveillance, like the field surveillance officers. It's around 60 to 70. And then
in office?
In 2022 in the field, I'm separating like that. Okay, in the field, 60 to 70 people in the field when it's first started, and throughout 2022, and starting from 2023, we increased our surveillance officer to 120 till late 2024. And because the change came in, like the transition to management, we're slowly reducing people because we swifted our focus to containment zone, which requires less people to do the job. Yeah, so there's a change but for in the office people, we have planning, we have logistics, we have public informations and operations and lab people. Yes, so it's around
40-50
to 60 to compose all these teams here. So if you say in the whole response,
150 to 200.
Yeah, roughly around at some point. But now we are having 70 people in total for the whole response. We reduce a lot in size.
Yeah, and we reduce about 70% of the resources.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Very interesting. And I'm just thinking in terms of so also just for context, Landcare's a statewide organisation, and so we are also based around the state. So I'm in Perth, Ness is in Byford, and then a lot of people on the call today would probably be scattered through that kind of Perth Peel region and potentially some down south as well. But thinking in terms of like Landcare groups who operate in that urban area, for example, if you're looking after a patch of bush, and you wanted to do a surveillance operation on the patch that you look after, would you recommend, say, looking for those top kind of susceptible trees in your immediate bushland and checking on the health of those? And then also, I guess, looking around the perimeter of the area of the bush that you look after and seeing if there's any of those introduced exotic, highly susceptible species in that kind of immediate vicinity to check if there's any spread potentially into the bush as well.
Yes. So most likely outside of Perth metropolitan area, we see less exotic trees in those areas. Make sense? Yeah, there were more native trees, but still, if it's near like wetlands, the beetle was still trying to get into the trees to infest. So what you're saying is, in a bushland, we will first focus on any trees that seem to be unhealthy, like slowly dying or any dieback symptoms. We'll look into it first. And then just like the whole surveillance steps, the procedure, and the tree is looking sick, we focus on it, and then we check the perimeter around it. If there's other trees that seems to be sick as well, even small bushes with woody stems, we'll take a close look to it like that. Does it make sense? Yeah. Did I miss any part of your question?
No, that does. It just makes sense. I'm just thinking about how to apply that kind of like monitoring and surveillance for citizen science kind of purposes for people who are out in the bush all the time looking after specific patches. And then I've just got one more question as well regarding, I guess, movement of like, say, you saw a tree branch fall on the side of the road and say you wanted to save it and use it as a habitat log in your garden. Do you think that that's an okay thing to do, or do you think you should check for borer symptoms first before you remove wood and move it around? And
Yes, check for any symptoms first. If you like, because you said it's a fallen branch, right? There's a cross section with the snap point. If there's any staining or galleries in there, please report it first. But if you don't see any short holes or any other symptoms, it may be just a natural thing. A tree will just suddenly drop a limb. I don't need my arm anymore. I just drop it. It should be fine. Yeah, because my God, it reminded me of an incident that I had previously. I parked my car underneath a gum tree, that gum tree just dropped a limb on top of my car, and that limb was 3 meters long.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's a natural thing for these gum trees to do. Am I correct? Yeah, because they need like high pressure to bump up to the canopy. So, side story, sorry.
No, that's
yeah. Thank you.
That's hectic.
Just let me check any more.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think it's from Vanessa. Yeah, right. Are there any predators of the beetle and fungus from the country of origin? Yes, there's from Taiwan. There's a parasitoid wasp that they lay eggs in they lay eggs inside the female beetle, and the eggs will hatch within the female beetle or any beetles they found, or they hatch, like they lay eggs on those. Yeah, but given we have the cane-toad history, we try not to suddenly introduce any other biological control. Yeah, so everything is still in experiment, and we are being very careful with all these ideas. But it will be a great start to trying to look into any biological control or any chemical control, just like the universities are doing. Yeah.
Other example regarding biological control, I saw it in three different samples in lab when I was doing when I was a lab officer. We found multiple small mites on the top of the adult females, and we even had video. I'm not sure if it's have it with me or not at the moment to show it, but it made the females quite uncomfortable because too many of them is just sticking on it, eating it, not eating it. I can't tell, but I was looking from microscope, and 3 different samples. We found a lot of mite just on the everywhere. It's just walking around. Some of them stick to it, some of them walking around. So there's a lot of potential biological control. So far, we didn't reach to the point to officially announce it or how effective they are. Yes, there is some experiment, and hopefully find results as soon as possible.
Yep.
Any other
Very
questions?
interesting. So it's just such an evolving space, isn't it? Just changing all the time with research and management.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just wanted to again thank you both for such an informative and comprehensive presentation. It was fantastic. And as Eden has alluded to, we have a field trip next week at the South Coast Observation Deck. We're meeting at 8:30. It'll probably go for about an hour and a half. We'll have morning tea provided. There's water available on site. We'd love you all to come because we'll be doing a very practical exploration and extending of this session. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be really interesting.
I have already dropped a few activities throughout the day. Show you how to identify the symptoms first, and then I'll let you guys to go spread out and find the symptoms on the trees, because there's 2 invasive trees standing in that park. So I would suggest it maybe last for 3 to 4 hours throughout the whole field trip. Is it okay?
Yeah, we'll probably talk about that after the session, but maybe maybe a little bit shorter. And then so the following week on the 19th, it's an opportunity to register for DPIRD's National Stakeholder Workshop. And so that's an all-day session, and that features speakers from countries with active infestations such as California and South Africa. But that has capped places. So if you're interested in PSHB management on a more national and global level, please do register for that. I will pop all of these links in our kind of follow-up resources as well as the presentation. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us today and spending your morning with us. And
thank you so much.
Hope you all enjoyed the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That was awesome. Well done, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you.